Mayor Lori Lightfoot in Chicago has been, speaking of being unreasonable, she's been certainly unreasonable. And one of the most, and her lack of reason also certainly does affect other people in a very direct way. She's been one of the most tyrannical dictators through this entire thing. She has just really enjoyed being, playing the part of Empress of Chicago. And you could tell she's getting a big kick out of it. And on that note, here she is over the weekend doing more of her tough guy or tough girl routine.
Now, I've directed Superintendent Brown to order all police districts to give special attention to these parties. And this is how it's going to be. We will shut you down, we will cite you, and if we need to, we will arrest you and we will take you to jail. Period. There should be nothing unambiguous about that. Don't make us treat you like a criminal. But if you act like a criminal and you violate the law and you refuse to do what is necessary to save lives in the city in the middle of a pandemic, we will take you to jail, period.
So there you go. Not to be pedantic, but firstly, there should be nothing unambiguous about that means that there should be something ambiguous about it. So what she was saying there is that she wants it to be ambiguous. Because otherwise, now I think what you meant to say is that there should that this should be unambiguous, or there should be nothing ambiguous about it. But anyway, if you're going for the tough guy routine, you have to really nail the lines. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay, so Mayor Lori Lightfoot says that if you violate social distancing, then you're a criminal, a crook, a fugitive from justice, which means, of course, that she is too. She is all those things: a criminal, a crook, a fugitive, a danger to her community. After all, remember, this is the woman who got her haircut a couple weeks ago, even after forcibly shutting down all of the hair salons and barbershops and everything in the city and legally prohibiting anyone else from getting a haircut. She went out and got a haircut. And just for fun, to speaking of remembering things, to reminisce, let's go back and recall the excuse she gave after she was caught getting her haircut. Here was her excuse.
I'm the public face of this city. I'm on national media and I'm out in the public eye. And, you know, I'm a person who, I take my personal hygiene very seriously. As I said, I felt like I needed to have a haircut. I'm not able to do that myself, and so I got a haircut.
So she's in the public eye, and she takes hygiene seriously. Unlike the average filthy Chicago resident who doesn't care about hygiene, apparently. So I take hygiene seriously. I don't know about the rest of these other rubes. They don't. So they don't need to get their hair cut. They don't need to take showers. They're peasants, you know. They're dirty peasants. But I am the mayor, and I need to practice good hygiene. Because, and you also know the other thing about Mayor Lightfoot is she, of course, is renowned for her looks. So she needs, of course, to get that haircut as the face of the city and everything. But in any case, she's a criminal. By her own categorization, she is a criminal. The other point, we've seen, of course, similar rhetoric like this from Emperor de Blasio. We know about him threatening to round up the Jews, threatening to close churches permanently if they defy his wishes. Empress Whitmer, barring people from even buying seeds and that sort of thing. Many other mayors and governors across the country, we've heard this. And we've talked about how this is a power trip from them. So a lot of this rhetoric is just them enjoying being absolute supreme ruler. They're getting a kick out of it. But I think there's another aspect of this that's important to understand. So ask yourself, before the coronavirus, when did you ever see Lightfoot or Whitmer or de Blasio, especially, or any of the rest of them, getting up in front of cameras and taking this kind of hard stance against actual criminals? I mean, Chicago has lost a hell of a lot of people over the years, over recent years, to gang violence, drug-related violence, etc. In the long term, that is still going to be a greater threat to residents of Chicago than the coronavirus will prove to be. And this is the case for every major American city. They've all got crime and everything else. Yet these mayors aren't nearly as tough on actual crime actual deadly crime as they are on people who walk too closely to each other on the sidewalk. So I think a big part of the motivation here is that it gives these weak mayors and governors an excuse to act like they're tough on crime, act like they care about protecting their citizens. They're too afraid to take this kind of stance under normal circumstances because they're afraid of charges of cruelty or brutality or racism or whatever else. But here they can do it and they can get away with it. In fact, I think there's a lot of this kind of posturing going around. So here's another example. I saw this tweet yesterday, and I've seen, and I'm just using this as an example because I've seen this kind of suggestion. And it's not entirely serious, so half serious suggestion, but I've seen this bandied about quite a bit. So let me show you this. Here's the tweet. It's got 1,000 likes. It says, "Friend in Bay Area law enforcement had a funny idea. No tickets, no arrests for social distance violations. Just put a mark on their driver's license that means do not treat for COVID if they show up at a hospital." Little harsh, but it does put hashtag skin in the game. Like I said, I've heard this from a lot of people. Like if you violate social distancing and you get sick from coronavirus, you don't deserve medical treatment or whatever. But this again is the kind of hardline stance you never hear during normal times. After all, if we aren't treating people for coronavirus because they violate social distancing, what about refusing treatment for people who sleep around when they get STDs? Or refusing to treat someone with heart disease if they eat fast food? Or refusing to treat an alcoholic for liver damage? Or a smoker for lung cancer? Not only would that never be suggested, but the same people who will scream at you for going to the park or to the beach during the coronavirus will also scream at you if you dare suggest that obese people who eat fast food are being self-destructive. So it's a lot of posturing going on. And by the way, I'm not suggesting that an obese person with heart disease shouldn't be treated because they ate fast food. That's not my approach. But I also wouldn't suggest that about coronavirus. You know, if you go to the park or if you go to the beach and then you get coronavirus, first of all, if somebody goes to the beach and then a week later they're in the hospital for coronavirus, the chance that they got it at the beach is very, very, very small. There are many others. It's more likely that they got it at Walmart or the grocery store when they were grocery shopping. But either way, no matter where they got it, they still deserve to be treated. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.